We are nearing the end of the college football season, and many players have not played up to their expectations. We have about 10 for you today we're going to go through, and some might even surprise you. Here we go, Metro. We're going to start at the top. We're going to start with our quarterback conversation, then go through the rest of our players. We got about 8 more after that. Metro, for the first player I want to talk about, I think it's only right we start here with this quarterback specifically. Let's discuss Drew Allar, the quarterback of the Penn State Nittany Lions. Going into this year, the Nittany Lions were supposed to be the unstoppable, no doubt about it, national championship team with this quarterback at the helm with just unlimited talent. And it just hasn't panned out that way. So do you want to provide more context to where he was and where he slipped to?
Yeah, so Allar was, I think, my QB 1 or 2 heading into the season, just based off of the pure upside and the player that we thought he could become. Then you saw it basically right from the get-go that he didn't take a step forward. And then the Oregon game happened, and then they just went on a complete dismantling of the team, right? They just went terrible. And then Allar got hurt, and now he's out for the season. He's still got a lot of things to like about his game, right? He's got good size, has a decent arm, can layer balls. There's things to like about his abilities and his physical look. But then the reality sets in that he's inconsistent. His accuracy is spotty. He doesn't move well in the pocket. He's not a great athlete. Things of that nature, and there's more to the conversation too. But that has now brought him down from being what would have been a first-round pick last year to now, realistically speaking, the highest he goes is somewhere early day 3. Like, this is a Quinn Ewers conversation kind of all over again, where returns to college, doesn't play as well as expectations are, also deals with an injury. Quinn also dealt with one too. Quinn fell all the way to the 7th round. I think Allar goes higher because of the physical look, but he's not going to be a starting quarterback year 1 like we thought he potentially could be if he had went pro after 2024.
For context on the year Drew had last year compared to this year, in 2024, he had over 3,300 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. This year, he's got not even 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Metro, we're eating turkey this Thursday, and he doesn't even have 1,500 yards. So, that just explains...
Well, he got injured, too.
He did get injured. You're correct. I'm probably being too critical right now. But that just explains the kind of season it's been for Penn State and Drew Allar. And one quick note, guys, we're going to talk about players today with bright futures, much brighter than ours. We're sitting on 2 podcasts and a microphone. We're just observing... What'd you say?
Much more money, probably.
Much more money, too, I can tell you that. This isn't to bring them down, but just acknowledge the ebbs and flows of the season and see where we fit today. So Drew Allar, as mentioned before, so much upside. He's going to get drafted without a doubt. Just where and how high is the question. I got nothing else to say. If you're ready to go to the next quarterback.
Let's talk about the next one.
Next QB, I'm going to go with Lenore Sellers. Lenore Sellers is the quarterback of the South Carolina Gamecocks. And this guy, as we know going into the season, was speed, strength, absolute woolly mammoth of a human at quarterback. But it's just been more the same, I might say. The traits are there. He shows flashes, but he hasn't developed like we thought he would as a quarterback, taking that next step that we wanted to see in 2025. That's the summary for me. Metro, I want to hear your analysis.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. He still could go early just off the pure potential and talent, the player that he could become. But more realistically speaking, a team is probably not going to spend a first-round pick on him. He's got a lot of things to like: the size, the look. He has some highlight plays that are awesome. He's got the speed, the arm talent. There's a lot to like there. But processing quickly, taking too many sacks, processing slowly, making bad decisions, inaccuracy issues. I think the Texas A&M game was sort of a great, kind of embodiment of what his career has looked like to this point, where you see the glimpses, you see the flashiness, you see some of the big plays. Then the second half, he doesn't even look like he should be starting out there, right? And that's the Lenore Sellers effect, right? That is just where he is right now. It's gotten to the point now where I just think he ends up returning to college and transferring to a better team. It's also important to say for Lenoris that he is playing behind a bad offensive line, and the team around him has gotten significantly worse. That all said, I just don't think he's taken a big enough step forward. I hope he transfers. I hope he goes to somewhere with more talent so he can rebuild his draft stock. Realistically speaking, though, we'll just have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. But for this next quarterback, we're not waiting for anything. Carson Beck, the quarterback who was at Georgia, now at the Miami Hurricanes. We thought in 2025 early-ish, that's been this year, 2024 early-ish, that he might be the next number 1 overall quarterback. That did not turn out how it was supposed to in 2024. Then he goes back to college, 2025, more the same. He had a couple games where we're going, oh, Beck, he's got it. We're seeing what we wanted to see back in 2024. He's showing those glimpses of how he played in 2023 specifically. But it's kind of all unraveled again. And then also, just on the side, I know GMs aren't going to like this. He was throwing some players under the bus. They're like, who ran the route wrong? How'd this go? And he was saying, oh, wide receiver ran this wrong. This isn't on me. As a quarterback, you take that shit on the chin at the podium and you move along. Doesn't matter who was right or wrong. So all these factors combining to a little bit of a draft stock slide without a doubt. Metro, what did you see this year in 2025?
I think you said it about right. Like, we're talking a quarterback that was at one point could have went number 1 overall, right? Had he gone pro and, kept playing the way that he did. And then 2024 happened where just played bad decision-making, terrible under pressure, threw a lot of interceptions. So the thought process heading into 2025, let's go to Miami. Let me get into a new system with a ton of talent that's just took Cam Ward to being the number 1 pick. Let me go there, rebuild my draft stock. And he's just been bad. Now, he hasn't always been bad. He's had good games, some good moments, and has looked more like that 2023 version of himself. But then you get the games where he's throwing multiple interceptions. And when he has a bad game, it's really bad. It's just really rough. And now I look at it, and I'm sure he'll get drafted somewhere. I have a hard time seeing him going undrafted, but there's just nothing to his game that speaks day 1 or day 2 right now. He is a day 3 pick that you're drafting to be the backup quarterback. And I do agree with you. The comments in the post-game press conferences, as well as there is a lot of reports out there that he's not necessarily this beloved leader, right? He's not really a leader. I've heard a lot of people talk about that. Those are red flags that teams will look at and say, do I want to draft this guy to be the backup? Right? Because sometimes you will see teams just draft a quarterback just because they can be a decent backup and they're not going to ruin chemistry, things of that nature. Like we saw the Florida quarterback last year go to Houston. Can't remember his name. Yeah, Mertz, who probably should not have been drafted, especially over some other talented quarterbacks. But everyone knew he was a good kid. People liked him. He had some potential. So the Houston Texans took him not to ever play, but just to be a practice squad, QB3. I don't see a team doing that with Beck. I still think he goes early enough, though, where he does get drafted. But, yeah, it's not been the year that Beck thought he was going to have.
Enough about Carson Beck. Let's go to Cade Klubnik for our 4th and final quarterback on this list. Cade is a quarterback who has an awesome name, but also was my number 1 overall quarterback heading into this season. I was drinking the Klubnik juice, Mr. Metro, and this year has not been what we expected. Back in 2024, stat line was, for reference, 3,600 passing yards, 36 throwing touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. This year, 2,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So just not nearly as productive. Also mixes in with the fact that Clemson was a hot team this year. They were supposed to be in the national championship conversation, and it just hasn't panned out that way. So Cade Klubnik overall just hasn't hit the ceiling we thought he was going to, showing a little bit of regression without a doubt, more like his 2023 season. Where does he land in the draft? I really don't know. It feels like day 3 just because he is 6'2", 210, not an absolute brute force quarterback. But Metro, what are your thoughts? Where does he land, and do you have any analysis on this season for him?
Yeah, so heading into the year, I was not the biggest Cade Klubnik fan. I still thought he was going to get drafted and had the potential to go early had he had a good year, but I was just never a big fan of his, right? And he returned to college, which I was a little bit surprised with. I get it. You love Clemson. You want to play all 5 years there. I understand. But you had the chance to go number 1, right? You had the chance to go in the first round. It's the same conversation with Drew Aller, and we'll talk about Garrett Nussmeier here in a second, where could have been a first-round pick. You end up returning to college. You ruin your draft stock. Cade Klubnik specifically, not Rathbone. Cade Klubnik was never the biggest fan of him as a prospect because I didn't really see anything special about his game, right? I thought his best attribute was maybe his anticipation, But so was it for Bryce Young, too. And just Bryce Young was just a better player. And we've seen Bryce have struggles in the NFL, right? Cade has athleticism, but the size isn't there. The arm talent was just okay. There's a lot to his game I wasn't a big fan of. And to me, you strike while the iron's hot, right? You could have been maybe not a round 1 pick, but definitely somewhere within the first three rounds last year, because last year's quarterback class wasn't great. Right, you could have been QB1 or QB2 in that class. You and Cam Ward, because obviously Shador went in round 5. But instead you returned. You had a bad year, and it wasn't all on him. The team around him also was bad. But Klubnik just looked worse, frankly, in almost every facet. And so now, I just don't know where he goes. Now, a team will draft Klubnik for the very same reason we talked about with Graham Mertz and things like that. Good guy, good kid, has some talent, can play. So I think he will get drafted higher than, let's say a Carson Beck, but he's not going to go round 1 or round 2 or even round 3. Now we're looking somewhere middle day 3 more than likely as a backup, reliable backup quarterback. So yeah, it's been a tough year for Klubnik, and he's lost a lot of money.
No question. I forgot number 5, who I'll talk about right now, the LSU quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. Now, Nussmeier going into last year, similar to Klubnik. He's 6'2", a little bit scrawny, 205, right? He waited his turn at LSU and he got his chance. We were hearing rumors this summer that he was going to be a top 3 quarterback in this class because he showed potential in 2024 without a doubt. This year, injuries, LSU kind of fell apart. Obviously had coaches out the door. It's just kind of self-destructed over there in Baton Rouge. So, Metro, I know you were big on Garrett this summer. I was similar to Cade Klubnik. I was big on him. What was your analysis of this year in 2025?
Yeah, I liked Garrett. I think I had him QB 3 or 4 heading into the year. I also had Arch Manning, number 2 or number 1. I can't remember. But, hey, it's worked out pretty good now. It's working out really good right now. In fact, if Arch went pro this year, look. Let's not have the conversation. We'll talk about him a lot in the offseason.
We can't do that.
QB1? No, I'm kidding. Anyways, Nussmeier has he should have went pro last year. The writing was on the wall. You could have been a first-round pick. You could have been QB2 with Cam Ward. But instead, he decided to go back one more year on a less talented football team with Brian Kelly as your head coach. And nobody likes Brian Kelly. Thank God he got fired. But then you also were injured, too. Now, that was never fully confirmed, but it's highly speculated he had some sort of injury. And the team was just bad. They had no ground game. The receivers were not incredible like they usually are. The defense was good, really good, but it was just a bad year. And he should have went pro. He should have read the room. He didn't read the room. He decided to return one more year, get more experience, and it just did not work out. So, if Dante Moore, if you're listening to this, go pro, dude. Sam Levitt, go pro. Ty Simpson, don't return. Go pro. Don't even overthink it. Because, sure, next year could be great, or next year could be really, really bad. But, yeah, man, that's 5 quarterbacks that were all potentially first-round picks that now, day 3. It's crazy to think about. Really crazy.
Absolutely insane. Now, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this episode. We got individual players, defense, offense. Let's go through the list. Metro, I'll let you start with your number 1 on the list, or I guess technically your number 3 because you had Klubnik, or you had Garrett Nussmeier, and who else, Drillar?
All right, yeah, I'll start off with Nicholas Singleton, who, has been playing a little bit better the past couple games. But this was a guy who has all the talent, the speed, the size, a lot of potential to be very, very good at being a pure running back, at being a professional NFL caliber back. But unfortunately, this year, you haven't seen the big step forward that you were looking for, right? In fact, I would say he's taken a step back more than anything in terms of, as a player, the numbers haven't been great. The play on the field has not been great. Again, it has been getting better the past few games, but what is he at? On the year, he's at a total of, I can't find the stats here, he's at a total of 460 rushing yards, averaging 4 yards an attempt. It's just not good enough. Now, it's gotten better the past few games, but all the things you want to see in terms of the development as a runner, in terms of having more nuance, reading your blocks, knowing when to hit the cutback lanes, being more creative out in open space. All these things, you haven't seen that step forward within Nick. And that's been disappointing because, again, you look at the frame, you look at the look, the speed. When he hits an open lane, he can absolutely hit it and just run away from people. But the actual play on the field has not been ideal. He hasn't taken that step forward. And this is a guy last year who had a total of, I don't know why they have it, 1,106 rushing yards. This year, he's through 11 games, not even halfway there, right? We're looking at him maybe hitting over 500 after the end of the season, which is a huge step down. And it's been disappointing. Even things like the receiving game has not been as good as it was the past few years. And again, this goes back to not just on him, but the entirety of Penn State being bad this year. And, I'll say it again, this time for a running back, this was a guy that, had he gone pro last year, would have been a higher draft pick. Now you're looking at him potentially being day 3, maybe day 2 if a team takes a flyer on him, right? But had he gone pro last year, probably would have been somewhere early day 2, right? But he decided to return, decided to try to win a natty for Penn State, and you didn't even make the playoffs. So, disappointing.
Tough year. Let's go on to another player who's on my list, and it's going to be Caden Proctor, O-tackle of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He plays left tackle for Bama, but he'll likely play guard in the NFL. TBD though, who knows? Point being, Caden Proctor, if you don't know, is an absolute beast of a human. He's 6'7", 366. Let me read this all. His lean body mass is 26% body fat. That's insane. Power cleaning 405, benching 535, squatting 815 pounds.
Damn.
So clearly, this guy can play. He's strong. Maybe not can play. He's strong. This year has been, I'd just say, adequate. We've seen really good. We've seen really mid. We've seen not this ceiling we wanted to have this player come into his final form. And with that, I think he's still probably a back half of the first-round pick just because he's got so much talent. Some coaches are going to get googly eyes just off those stats alone and those measurables. But truth be told, Proctor has the ability and the skill to be a top 10 pick, just hasn't played like it this year. So maybe not the biggest faller on our list today, but just someone I think you, and the community wanted to see more out of, and maybe we get more of that in the NFL. That's kind of my upside. Maybe just hasn't worked out at Bama like we expected, but in the NFL, in the correct role, he will thrive and be an awesome player.
Yeah, when it comes to Caden, the expectation was come back for one more year at Alabama, improve your footwork, show that you have the quickness and speed to manage these speedy edge rushers, and it just hasn't been great. Now, he's had some fun plays. Like, he's been used as a running back. He's been used as a fullback. Like, they've been using this guy all over the place, and that's fun. And that's exciting for some NFL teams to watch, and he's got all the potential and talent in the world, but when it comes down to it, the offensive line position is not about just being big and strong. It's about being nimble, being movable, right? Being able to match the Myles Garrett's, the TJ Watts of the world. Sure, it helps if you can bench press 6,000 pounds, but if you can't move, you're useless, right? I think Caden has the potential to be very good, but I do agree with you. We were talking potentially somewhere top 15. Now we're looking late first, early second, likely more later first, but maybe early second too. So not a big fall, but definitely a bit of a fall.
No question. Next up, let's go to Metro's player. I'll let you announce him. Go on ahead, brother.
Yeah, let's talk about TJ Parker. So if you watched our edge rushing rankings video, which we did our mid-season one, down the line we'll do our after season one to update you guys. I had TJ Parker as my edge number 2, and I stand by that. My thing with TJ, it hasn't been the year we were hoping for, right? Heading into the season, TJ was a kind of a consensus top 5 pick, right? Coming off a 12-sack season, 11 hits, 28 hurries, just a monstrous year. And even the year prior, he had 6 sacks, 7 hits, 22 hurries, and a batted ball. This year, he's still been good, like really good, but only 2 sacks in the year, right? And sacks don't tell the full story. Sometimes you can get a ton of pressure on a quarterback, but the pass rush win rate has gone down to 15.7. I still like him a lot as a prospect, but I have maybe changed my tone on him a little bit where, preseason, you're probably talking, oh, this guy's going to be, your future number one go-to guy off the edge. Now I look at him and I say, probably not your number one, but as a really good number two, sure, he'll definitely pass there. Again, I have him as my number two edge rusher just because I prefer his style of pass rusher more than like a David Bailey, Keldrick Falk, Cassius Howell, who those guys are all risers. I like more traditional, big body defensive ends that can move a little bit and are true off the edge, hands in the dirt guys. Hence why I like TJ a bit more. But his stock has fallen, right? And you can say the same thing about a lot of Clemson players. Peter Woods, Antonio Williams, Cade Klubnik, even Avion Terrell to an extent, right? Guys who were projected, early picks are now, kind of falling down the board a little bit. TJ is one of the bigger ones, though. And again, he'll be a first-round pick, which is good value for him, but he won't be a top 5 pick like maybe he was once projected to be.
Well said, brother. Let's hop back over the fence to my list here. We got A.J. Harris, cornerback of the Penn State Lions. We got a lot of Penn State players here. We got 3 so far today. A.J. Harris is a junior, so he's probably going to go back this year for sure. With that being said, going into the year, he was a 6'1 corner, about 190, lengthy, could absolutely move pretty dang well. Now this year, just to read off some stats, I'm not going to just degrade the man. I'm just going to read off stats that are in front of me. Completion percentage when it's thrown his way, 90.9%. He's got 1 dropped interception, 4 missed tackles, coverage grade about 61. I don't trust the PFF interns, but that's what they currently said. Overall.
The interns,
man. The interns grading A.J. Harris, but he's also allowed 2 touchdowns. He just hasn't played great football like we expected. And he's got a ton of talent, and I think he bounces back. All you need is 1 good year as a cornerback or any position, and next thing you know, you're getting drafted high up in the NFL draft. So he's got the talent. Let's see it come to life next year. I bet this pretty much sends him back to college in 2026. Looking forward to that year and what he can do and see if he can produce a little bit more.
Yeah, I liked him. Harris, had the size, the measurables. Just hasn't been tested a bunch this year, but even when he has been tested, 90% completion percentage.
Roads are open.
Yeah, it's tough.
Fly zone.
Right? I mean, it's not been the year that you would like to see out of him. I still like him as a prospect, but no, I don't totally disagree with you. I definitely see him returning or being a day 2 pick, right? But yeah, been a bit of disappointment. So I'll move on to my next player. I'm talking about tight end Jack Andrews from Texas. So heading into the season, it was Max Clare, who is actually playing a lot better now, but his start of the year was also quite rough. And Jack Andrews as like your tight end 2 or 3. And Jack he just has been kind of mid, like very quiet in an offense at Texas that has produced, high caliber tight ends like Jatavion Sanders and Gunnar Helm, guys that were drafted both, I believe, in day 2. I think Gunnar Helm might have been a 4th, maybe a 3rd, but either way, really 2 highly touted tight end prospects. Jack just hasn't came there yet, right? Obviously, transferred from Cal. At Cal, really good year last year, playing alongside Fernando Mendoza, transfers over to Texas. Maybe he should have transferred to Indiana, just throwing it out there. But at Texas, he has been the tight end 1, but just hasn't done much, right? On the year, 24 receptions, 218 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns, right? He's had moments, but he hasn't really been impressive as a run blocker. He's just been fine. As a receiving threat, he's good, right? And I think Texas should use him more, but he also hasn't been great there either, right? And so I still think if he were to go pro, he would get drafted, but I think it would be very silly to go pro. Right? This is the one time where I will say you should probably return to college. And, I mean, look, I'm a Texas fan. See the flag? Hat on too. I'll never tell a player to transfer out of Texas. If he does, well, I kind of can't say I don't blame him, right? Arch is not a tight end friendly quarterback, at least from what I've seen. He likes to throw it to receivers, which is really unique for a young quarterback. Usually young quarterbacks love their tight ends, but Arch Manning, nah. He hates Jack Andrews. He's like, go transfer, bud. Go to UTEP. I mean, that's what he's telling him, but I'm kidding. But no, he's a good talent. He's got the size, the look, the feel, but man, it's just hasn't been the type of season you want to see from him. So, bit of a disappointing year for him.
I was on the Jack Andrews train too. When I saw his Cal film, I was like, oh man, Texas got a stud. And I think he still got it in him, just hasn't come out this year in 2025. Next player on the list, we got LT Overton from my side, the edge rusher for Alabama. In this summer, he was in first-round conversations. For obvious reasons, this guy's got a lot of talent. But in this year of 2025, the pass rush has been fine. The stats show you 5 sacks and 12 hurries. Honestly, pretty good statistics. But under the surface, you can see that he doesn't have the bend, the speed, the pass rush ability we want in the NFL that translates for sure. So LT Overton is a phenomenal run defense athlete, at least in my eyes personally. I think that is his strength without a doubt. So he's going to get drafted on day 2 without a doubt. But there was first-round conversations. I think we've kind of fallen out of that personally with some other guys that could rush the passer just a little bit better. But looking forward to seeing where he lands and if he can develop that even more in the NFL.
Yeah, LT is he's a player that I've always never loved, but I can see his role for NFL teams. He's not going to be a 3-down player, and he's not going to be a true edge rusher. He's going to be a scheme-dependent, run-stuffing 3-4 interior defensive lineman who you're going to have to be okay with him not being 290 pounds, right? He's a bigger dude, and I think he could probably pack on a bit more weight, but you're not going to get the pass rushing juice from him. You'd be lucky to get 2 or 3 sacks out of him in a season. But what he can do is he does give you juice as a run defender, and if he can get a bit more of a bag, I do think he has the athleticism to work in the NFL, right? But this is a guy who we were talking about last year as potentially being a late first-round pick. Now we're talking this year where it's like probably not round 1. It just feels far-fetched. If a team is in desperate need of a 3-4 run-stuffing interior defensive lineman, not a true interior piece, but like a 3-4 edge, then sure, like if Buffalo said, you know what, screw it, we have to get this guy, I kind of could see it, but I just don't see it with him. I just don't think he's that good, right? He's a talented player. He could play in the NFL. I just don't think he's a first-round pick. I think more than likely day 2, somewhere day 2. And I think that's about right for him. He kind of reminds me of Darius Robinson in some ways. Darius, I thought, had a lot more juice as a pass rusher, but in terms of like being a big player that kind of hard to see where he fits in. Like Darius can play as a 4-3 edge, but he also can play as a 3-4 edge as well. It's just kind of more of like where does he fit better at, and I like Darius more as a prospect. So
that's a fun comp. That's a very fun comp. Metro, I have one more, and if you want to talk about your last one, if you want to, I can go again.
Yeah, I'll let you go. I mean, I would talk about Antonio Williams. He had a really down year, but he also been dealing with injuries. And he had I want to say it was Antonio who had the press conference where he was like, oh no, I'm going pro this year. And it's like, really, dude? You're coming off a bad year, and your draft stock went from a potential first to day 2, day 3 pick. Like, why not go play for a really good quarterback and boost your stock back up? I might be wrong, but I'm 99% sure it was Antonio. You know, he's been better the past few weeks, but it's just been, again, somebody who returned to college, although he had to return to college. I think he was a junior, but returned. And then just injuries happened, and then the play on the field was just okay, right? So far this year, nine games played, 545 yards, 4 touchdowns. He'll get drafted, but for somebody who was a projected first or second round pick last year, now you're looking at him 3, round 4, somewhere in that range.
Dude, Antonio Williams, I was the biggest truther and still am. I'm not going to beat down on the guy.
Player.
But,
Yeah.
Dude, he is fun. He has got juice. He's electric with the ball in his hands. But injuries, underwhelming Clemson season, and thus bada bing, bada bang, here we are. Final player I got on my list, Dominique Orange, Big Citrus, the D tackle. Now, Dominique Orange, his profile is large human who stuffs the run and just can't rush the pass as effectively as we would like. Similar to LT Overton, right? In the run game, we're making a difference without a doubt. I think we're going to go on day 2 for sure. But we wanted to see a little bit of juice in the pass rush game, and it just has not shined through overall for Dominique Orange. For reference, he currently has 0 sacks, 3 QB hits, 10 hurries, not bad at all. But we just want to see more overall, personally. And I don't think he has the freak athletic build of like a Christian Miller or an Amari Washington, guys with upside we can mold into projects long term. Big Citrus, dope player, great in the run game, but at one point we were talking first round picks for a couple of weeks, and then now we're thinking more day 2, maybe even like a fourth round pick.
Yeah, I'm thinking round 3 feels about right for him. He's an older player, senior. He's got some good run stuffing ability, but you're not going to get a ton out of him as a pass rusher, and you just have to be okay with that if you're going to take him. So if you can handle him not being the most explosive player, but you can handle him not being this great pass rusher, then yeah, Dominique Orange in like round 3 sounds fine.
Essentially, Metro, with every single one of our guys that we talked about, we said, hey, if they could be a 3-down player at all times, we said, hey, actually, you're just going to be a role player in the NFL and make a bunch of dollars, and you're going to love your life, but you're just not going to be a 3-down player. So it's really not that bad, but that is our faller list. We want to hear your thoughts down below. Who do you disagree with? Like, you're like, oh, y'all are just playing wrong. Drop it down below in the comments. If you watch this far, guys, we are on the road to 1K, and it starts with you. We just hit 700 subs. Thank you very much. Go sub down below and join us. We appreciate you guys. Have the best day. Love y'all. Metro, get us out of here.
Appreciate you guys for watching. You guys have a great day. Peace out.